Hello everybody, welcome back. Can you trust or believe anybody or anything on YouTube nowadays? Well, a while ago, my answer would have been a resounding yes, I think. I was very optimistic about this platform. I still am. I do think it's an amazing thing that we can all be here and we have complete beginners and intermediate and advanced, complete pros even, sharing information back and forth. Visually too, because forums are old, but the actual fact of seeing somebody or hearing them speak when they're true masters, it's an amazing thing. I learned many things on YouTube. I learned how to fix my house. I've learned about firewood. I learned about all kinds of things. But when it comes to music and art, then it's a bit more delicate, because I think artists, we are very emotional and emotive. We also have a big ego and we have high expectations for ourselves. And when all these things come into play, common sense and rationality tend to kind of be set aside a little bit too much, and then we fall for many things, such as the one I'm going to discuss today. And then I will hopefully help you, be a bit more mindful as you decide who you're going to learn from and whose advice you're going to take. Something happened not too long ago, maybe a couple of weeks ago, where one of the biggest vocal coaches on YouTube, and I won't give you his name, you can find him. I don't want to dump extra on him, he's already being hammered, and I do think he's despicable though and a fraud, but I won't go overboard. And he's a guy who's very popular, probably the biggest vocal coach on YouTube, has about more than 1 million subscribers. And for years, his thing has been that the proof is in the singing, right? So I'm going to show you how to be a true singer, a real singer. My techniques will make you trust your voice and be a professional, never crack. Your voice will never crack. You'll always be in top form. Well, guess what? Like everything here on YouTube, lies. They say in Italy that lies have short legs because they can't get very far and then they get caught. And indeed, he got caught. I think beyond any reasonable doubt proved that he was miming, not only live, which is for somebody who says, I'm showing you things that will give you the tools you need to always be a great singer, always means, well, singing live, right? That's kind of what we sing for. But also, and incredibly, in his own studio, on a YouTube video, where he could have done it in his own time, whenever his voice was at his best, he's miming in a YouTube video, pretending to be singing live, so that you believe that he knows how to sing and he will teach you how to sing, and then you can buy his courses. Now, we can laugh about this, but if you're a beginner, or if you have high aspirations, or if you're truly motivated and you want to be a professional singer, it's easy to fall for this, right? You see somebody who can sing very well, has a great voice, he can sing a lot of styles. He tells you, look at me, I'm going to show you how you can do it too, just by my course. I've seen this for years with guitar players too. I don't go out and mention them, I don't call them out, although maybe we should, because I think when it comes to entertainment, okay, I think it's a fraud that people lip sync live. I do think so. I think that you shouldn't lip sync live, and if you can't sing, then you either don't tour or don't play live, or be honest about it. For example, I've seen AC/DC in the 90s. If I go see them today, I know it's not the same thing. I understand that Brian Johnson can't sing the way he used to, but I would go see them. I wouldn't go if I knew they were miming. I mean, Axl, we all know how Axl is singing these days. Well, he's still going out and playing 3-hour sets, singing the best he can. Because if you go see them, you're not getting 1987 Guns N' Roses, but you're seeing them perform. I would never go to a concert knowing they're miming. I think it's absurd. I also think that most of these bands who need to resort to miming, they're in their 60s. They're not going to pay $100 to go and see people in their 60s just jumping around the stage pretending they're singing, right? But this is even worse, because that's one live show. They're promising you entertainment for a couple hours, and maybe you get cheated out of it. And you're still seeing the lights, you're still seeing your artists, your favorite artists, even though they're not singing. I think it's despicable, but it's not such a big deal, maybe. But when you're actually taking people who are their dream, their passion is to be able to do things you say you can do, and you're selling them this for views, for selling your merchandise, for just an extra 2% of conversion rate, I think it's I don't have a word for it, and it's something that I try to warn people about. And it's hard to do this for me because I'm here on YouTube as well, and I'm making videos, and I've been making videos for many years. And one of the reasons probably that my channel isn't as big, although I will take the blame for everything, because there are great people who have big channels and they're great. So my own faults on YouTube are my own. I'm not, putting blame on things, but certainly the format where you try to give honest, true advice, to the best of your abilities. Nobody's perfect, but it's certainly not as easy to do it as it is to be presenting people with some shiny object, even though it's fake. The way I do it, and maybe you can look for other people who do the same thing or in the same vein, is that you can go back hundreds of videos, I always record myself with this microphone. I've sometimes been criticized by the sound quality of my guitar on these videos, and the reason I'm doing it is because I'm not going straight into the sound card. I'm actually recording the guitar coming from the speakers into this microphone. Most times I'll be talking while I play, and that's to make sure that you know that everything I'm doing in the video is played at that moment. Not pre-recorded, not mimed to. If it's something I'm explaining that I'm understanding and making you understand that it's an important technique, I'm demonstrating it for you at that moment. Is it always perfect? Maybe not perfect, but is it always as good as I say it should be? Yes. Otherwise, I'll do another take, but I'll be playing it at that moment. I try also to keep takes to a minimum. If I decide to make a video about something and while I'm recording it, I realize I'm not really there, then I'm not qualified to make that video. And so that video gets either delayed so I can practice on what I'm preaching, or it will just get discarded. So if you can spot somebody who sticks to the standard, then I think you're in better hands than somebody who's selling you all these shiny things that make no sense. By the way, if you're new to this and you're wondering how will I be able to tell if somebody's pretending and trying to fool me or if they're actually doing it for real, let me show you a little game here. During the pandemic, I used to go into the studio every Saturday and do a live stream, and at the beginning of the live stream I would perform a song. One of my songs I would play live, of course, over backing tracks. And even with the backing tracks, you can tell 100% if I'm playing live or not. And so I'm gonna subject myself to this little game. I'll link the videos below and up here. Go through them and play a game of spotting the mistakes. You hopefully spot some kind of genuine playing there, even if you don't particularly like my songs, though I hope you do. Another thing you can do is see the kind of community that there's around these channels. I'm going to talk about somebody who is very respected, who is Rick Beato. And when Rick came out, slowly he won me over in a sense that because not only the way he does things, but the community around him, there's very little worshipping of Rick Beato. Whereas other people, such as, I hate to say, this guy we're talking about, all the comments are like, oh my God, you're so great, oh my God, this, oh my God, that. There's nothing negative anywhere because they get deleted. That should probably make you nervous, right? So if you see an unhealthy community, my advice, that's what I would tell my students, if you see somebody who's just too good to be true, everything around them is just too shiny and gold, that's probably fake. You can watch it for entertainment, you might even get a few tips out of it, but don't measure yourself against them. Try to aspire to or measure yourself against somebody who's relatable because they're real. So if I go see a great guitar player live, I don't mind if there's a couple mistakes here and there. I've been on the edge, right, on the stage, and I understand it. It's part of what makes it musical, what makes it interesting, what makes it wonderful. I've seen Paco de Lucia play live, and he made a few mistakes. So what? He's still Paco de Lucia. As a matter of fact, I enjoyed it. I felt a relationship between us. And so look for that relationship. You'll know when you have a connection with the person behind the camera. And this is not to say that I'm that person. I have many flaws. I'm a bit boring. I try to do things my way, and sometimes it's just not very smart, like making a bunch of videos on technique where I know they're not gonna get a lot of views. Then I make a video on something else and it gets a lot of views, and I'm like, maybe I should do that. But no, I really want to talk about picking patterns, right? And so you don't have to follow me, but you should try to find somebody you can relate to. That's extremely important. And look beyond the shiny surface. And that's what my advice to you, especially if you're in a vulnerable position. And the vulnerable position is that you're a beginner. When you're a beginner, you don't know what's possible, you don't know what's realistic, and you don't know what's fake. And so, don't get into any cults of personality, especially here on YouTube. It's despicable to take advantage of people, especially on such a large scale as YouTube. If you sell vacuum cleaners door to door, and you do take advantage of some people. I still think it's really bad, but the consequences probably are not as drastic as if you do it here on YouTube, where if you're lucky, you will get exposed to thousands of people, maybe millions. And then the consequence of your actions are this huge wave. When you have millions of viewers, I mean, you're affecting a lot of people. You can fool a lot of people. You can take advantage of a lot of people. There's always going to be somebody who does that. But we can be mindful of it. Just make sure you understand what you're getting into when you're here on YouTube watching people. And don't take any of this so seriously, because in the end, if you make art, if you make music, it all comes from you. You can get more tools, you can get more ideas, you can get more tips, you can get more knowledge, but the art comes from within. Work with what you got, and if you need some help, I'm happy to help you discover new things on the guitar, hopefully with this channel, and I'm sure there are many others who can do the same. Thank you so much for watching, and if you do want to come back, I suggest you do hit the subscribe button. If you like this video, please do give it a thumbs up, and I look forward to seeing you very soon. We have a lot more guitar stuff coming up. See ya. Bye-bye.